everybody. We are having a really juicy conversation today about what we call the invisible entrepreneur. And yes, this is a part of the 100 Women to Watch campaign for those of you who have been watching us and all of the amazing women that we've been able to feature so far. And let's meet the woman who inspired today's conversation. Allow me to introduce Julie Lavia. Can you please tell us why this means so much to you and what had you want to spark this particular conversation?
Yes, hi ladies. Thank you for being here and thank you for streaming in and watching. So I'm somebody who's all about collaboration. I consider myself this visibility expert, and I love to showcase different women and also be in different rooms to help us get more visible, get more seen. And considering that I've never done panel discussions before, and when Kai had brought up the idea, and I was like, you know what, let's try it out. And maybe if this becomes successful, maybe do it every once a month or every couple months. But yeah, I'm all about just connections, collaborations, getting into rooms. You just never know who is going to be there to inspire you, who you're going to be there to collaborate with, and what kind of insightful and valuable information you can get out of panel discussions. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for inspiring the conversation. This is amazing. And let's get to know everybody by asking a question. That question is, and just so you're prepared, Dahlia, I'm going to pose this question to you first, which is, what does it mean to you when you hear the term invisible entrepreneur? What does it bring up for you? Does it create some memories? Like, what is it that you've seen that kind of paints that picture?
When I first hear invisible entrepreneur, it just automatically makes me think of how we as entrepreneurs have almost lead a double life. Like our business comes first, and a lot of times we can lose ourselves as people. So it's like we are the invisible part, and the entrepreneur piece becomes the stage of everything that we represent. So it definitely, it definitely brings a lot of memories and flashbacks, especially when I was really first starting out, as well as some of the women that I've worked with. But that's what it really makes me think about, is how we can lose ourselves in that journey.
Losing oneself. Yeah. I thought that only happened like in the midst of really daunting tasks, but apparently that can happen on a meta level as an individual where I forget who I am except for what it is that I do for people. Yeah.
Exactly.
100%. Thank you. Lillian, would you like to contribute to what comes to mind for you when you hear the term invisible entrepreneur?
Um, I think a lot about so many entrepreneurs that I've worked with, and also my own history of going at it alone. Because so much of entrepreneurship is it's isolating. You are trying to figure things out on your own, to try and save money. You are trying to bootstrap things, and it can not only is it very lonely and isolating from an emotional standpoint, it's also invisible in the sense that no one knows what you're going through, right? Because you don't have this community, you're not out there sharing your story. And for a lot of years, that was me, right? And a lot of my clients have gone through that as well, where it's just like you're going through it behind the scenes and nobody knows anything unless you make the choice to share what you're going through. And even then, it will depend on who you share it with, where you share it, and when you share it. Because a lot of our family and friends, if you don't have a lot of entrepreneurs in your network, they're not going to understand on the day to day what you're going through and what you need support with.
I mean, what you're saying is 100% valid, and like it has me look at what's the opposite, right? So if I'm not acknowledging, what it is that I'm up to, maybe I could do a little more celebration so that I actually, know what it is that I've done for people. And by the way, there is a whole season in which I had to get over considering that thing, celebration, to be bragging. Not the same thing.
No.
Not the same thing. One is soul food and the other one bleeds the soul, but you know, it's all good. We get to live and learn. Hey, Melanie.
Hey.
Hey, how are you relating to these terms?
I'm loving it. Both of those explanations I would never have thought of, actually. So I'm liking that spin on it.
Yeah, yeah. Is it something that you see on a day-to-day basis, or is this kind of like an endangered species for you? The
Oh no,
invisible.
I mean, I struggle with it with myself. I mean, I don't think anyone, even no matter how successful they become, is ever going to reach that point where they're like, I've made it. Like, yeah, you can become successful, but we're always dealing with limiting beliefs, mindset, technology is forever changing, trends come and go. There's always something. So yeah, I totally relate to what they've said.
Did you ever reach that I made it moment?
No. But then I don't think you do as an entrepreneur, because you reach one hurdle and then it's like, oh, now I see another 3. So then you're going after the other 3 and you never, ever, ever reach. It's like housework. You know, you clean one room and then the other room, and it's just this continuous cycle, isn't it?
Totally. There's this cool Instagram post or meme or whatever, and it had the infinity symbol on it. And I was like, this is the symbol for laundry. It's like, yeah, it is. And the symbol for entrepreneurial work. You know, if we don't create the container for it, it'll take over the whole freaking day.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mel. Julie, how is this sitting with you?
Sorry, can I just, I didn't realize you were asking me the question that you'd ask the ladies. So can I just quickly interrupt, because
please,
when you ask that question of what do I think of when I hear invisible entrepreneur, my knee-jerk reaction to that is someone very good at what they do, but scared to be visible, comparing themselves to people in their industry who are way, way, way ahead. And they're like, I can't compete with that. And so they never grow, because they're always telling themselves they're not good enough, or they're not yet there yet, or they need to do more courses and more qualifications. And so they're very good, but they're not owning it. And they're not putting themselves out there just as much as the one who's way ahead of them, because something in their psyche is telling them, I'm not good enough yet.
Where do you think that comes from? Why would somebody do that to themselves?
So many reasons. Social conditioning, maybe if they had a maybe not so pleasant childhood and were constantly put down. Maybe they were at school and the teachers didn't see their spark and bring that out of them. Maybe they're in a destructive relationship, a toxic relationship, and so they're constantly being put down. So many reasons.
How do we start to unwind that, or, you know, unentwine these beliefs from these entrepreneurs out here so that they can get visible?
I know, and for me, I kept a lot of my dreams, visions to myself under the guise of not really trusting. I first operated with, I don't really trust others. I don't want to put it out there and someone take my idea and go run down the street with it. But then I realized that really it was a distrust within myself. Because and I don't know who I was listening to one day that made a comment about they were giving away all of this free information, and they were just basically like, if they haven't done it yet, like they're probably not going to do it. Like, you are you. The idea was given to you. Like, you can't focus on what someone else might do, because 9 out of 10 they're probably not going to do it. They're going to listen to what you say, and they may think it's a cool idea, but they're really not going to actually carry it out. So I think once I began to have greater trust in myself, in my story, and in what I was doing and my ability to do it is when it opened up the door for me to really be able to share it with others and be confident that regardless of what I was sharing, I was still the owner of the idea.
I honestly agree with that, because I think even for those of us that work in PR and that help our clients get visible, there is that barrier when you're looking at how do I do it for myself. Like for me, I spent a lot of years as a service provider helping my clients get visible and doing campaigns and everything. And when I made the decision to switch to coaching, then it was a question of, I am guiding and supporting my clients on how to build a healthy and strong mindset and develop the strategy that's going to get them the results that they want. I cannot, in good conscience, guide them and support them to do what it is that I'm unwilling to do for myself. So I had to go on this journey to really figure out, like, what are the blocks, my limiting beliefs that are stopping me from moving ahead and sharing my story. And I came to the realization that, like, when Melanie was talking about, societal conditioning and things like that keeping you down, I thought I had broken out of the box that society, culture, and family put me into simply by being an entrepreneur. And I didn't realize that, hey, wait a minute. The fact that I'm still scared to get out there and share my story and lose control of this, I'm still in the box. So I can't, in good conscience, guide my clients to do something I wouldn't first lead by example to do myself. So I had to really dive in and do the mindset work and have that come to Jesus moment of like, whoa, like this is exactly what's been holding me back. And in letting go of it, this is freedom. This is freedom. Like I no longer have fear about getting out there and getting visible and sharing my story. And because of that, I can show up for my clients because I understand what they're going through.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Right? The empathy and compassion is real. Okay. And we got a question from Kai in the audience. Kai says, maybe it's not about visibility, but bringing nature back to the center of business creations. Fighting for placement seems long and exhausting, but centering businesses around simple, ancient practices that integrates the human balance with nature and technology in harmonious ways is a different and also an unexplored approach. Just a different thought space. Thank you for bringing that up, Kai. Does anyone integrate or have some ideas about what integration of this could look like in real time? Or have you been doing it? And would you like to share about it too? Because that
I can relate to that
one. Yeah, Mel.
I'm going to put my hand up and say guilty because, and I know we're all like this, I find it very hard to switch off. And then I'll say to myself, right, at whatever time I'm going to go out and I'm going to go for a walk and I'm going to stop looking at work. But then when that time arrives, there's something else to do because there's always something to do. And I live in the most beautiful part of the world. There's beaches all around me. It's hot all the time. But I am constantly indoors. And so what I love is kicking my ass to go outside because when I do, I'm inspired. I'm in nature. I'm looking at the beauty around me. And all of a sudden, boom, ideas are coming out left, right, and center, which I'm forcing for them to happen in my apartment because I feel like I've got to constantly do. And it's when I go outside, I'm like, why don't I do this more often? So I'm going to hold my hand up and say, I find that very hard to do. So that what you have just said there, Kai, is spot on.
Sweet, sweet. Inspire nature. It just makes sense, right? If we think about it with some fresh lenses, right? But if we're just in it all day, maybe there's not even time to have that thought. What do y'all think?
For me, I think I cheated on this a little bit. Because I'm very similar to the fact that I'm just a little bit introverted, and I can live in my works all day every day. Like I can just live in it. And so at a certain point I started only taking positions that forced me to be outside and be around people. So a lot of the things that I do right now outside of coaching, whether it's volunteer work or whether it's a position, they all are very people facing that forces me to be out. So I feel like I'm trying to like get the best of both worlds. Like I said, I love what I do. So doing what I love is totally fine. But at the same time, not being a hermit about it and realizing and kind of walking in the reality that you can be successful alone, but it feeds me to help others be successful. So why not combine the two? Like actually get out there where I can meet and I can, run off at the mouth and kiki with people, but at the same time, I can still feed the part of me that really wants to help others. So I've kind of, I think, blended the two in order to make it work for me.
Got it. Right on. Right. And I've seen like some of you have the name, like the word coach, next to your names. And for me, I don't know, when I hear this word that Deborah's talking about here called leadership, for me, leadership and coach seem a bit synonymous sometimes. I don't know. That's just how I feel. I'm wondering how do y'all feel about that?
I think as a coach, you have a responsibility to your clients and to the greater audience to lead by example, lead with compassion, lead with empathy, and tying it back to like getting out of your own head and not feeling tied to your desk all the time. I would never ever coach my clients to do something I would be unwilling to do myself. And what constantly surprises me is when you do take time out to take a break and get out there, what can inspire you? I mean, I go to pick blueberries, and that actually inspires me to write content about, how picking the biggest and bluest blueberries is like targeting the right audiences, right? I went to a Deftones show on Friday when they kicked off their tour, and it reminded me of a conversation of longevity and creativity in business. How do all of these bands that I love and I support, how have they managed to last decades, right? What is their why? How do I look to their journey to inspire me, right? So there's things like this that I find that just in things that I love doing consistently inspire me and also allow me to bring a different perspective into my coaching with my clients that isn't just about doing the work. It's really about incorporating like what is important to you in life and how do we integrate that into what it is that you're trying to do and sharing your story and getting visible.
Oh my gosh, yes. And a part of me is like, what do you mean that there's something that could be more important than my 3 o'clock deadline and my 4 o'clock meeting? And it's like, oh yeah, I'm in a body and I have a life and a family. And these are all also a part of the picture. So I appreciate you bringing that into focus too, Lillian.
Can I go into? I didn't get a chance to talk about the meaning of well, invisible entrepreneur. Can I still talk about it? Can we go back to it?
Always.
Sure. So I know from experience from me like being an invisible entrepreneur when I started coming into this space, and I found that there wasn't enough room for people like myself to be a part of the noisy social media, because they always assume that extroverts always have to are the ones who are going to be like the outright shining entrepreneur. But you could still be invisible, you could still be introverted, but you just have to find different ways and strategies and tools to show up and make yourself connect and shine, because it's a little bit more challenging. But I find that you could still thrive in this space as an invisible entrepreneur, or even an introverted entrepreneur, because you may be scared to show up, but I think as long as you find what works for you, you find your people to even collaborate with, then it doesn't have to be so scary. So that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome.
I think that's a really good point there, Julia, because I am an extrovert. And so horses for courses, like, I think this is a problem with a lot of women. They're trying to be liked by everybody because they're hoping that obviously it's going to get them those clients. But when you release the whole thing of, well, it worked for her, so maybe I should do that. When you just release that and go, no, I am me, and that's good enough, and I'm going to do me, and the right people will be attracted. I like that.
Heck
Yes.
yeah.
And I'm sorry,
Mhm.
I feel like that goes back to just really being okay with your own story. I feel like a lot of times what is hindering or holding people back or challenging people is being very focused on the other person's story and journey so much that they forget to find the power and evolution in their own actual story. And I find that when I have met people that own their story 100%, they've worked out, they've ironed out the demons, they are good with their story. They have no problem sitting in the space of others that have their own story, and they're not trying to morph into them. They, you know what I'm saying, they're fully owning it. And I feel like when you own it, the things that are meant for you, if we talk about the law of attraction, will automatically be attracted to you, because they whether that's opportunities, whether that's people, are actually attracted to your story and who you actually are. So I think, and as I said, I mentioned earlier that I am slightly introvert. I'm that introvert extrovert where when I'm out in public, you probably would not know. But once I'm done, I'm completely tapped out, and I'm done. Um, but again, I have just found that once I got to a place of truly being okay with Dahlia and Dahlia's story and what that journey entailed, that opportunities and people that were attracted to it, I didn't even have to really search. They just would show up and be here for me to embrace and help in whatever way possible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. High performing, high functioning introvert. Like it's like a spectrum, right? There's not just one or the other. Maybe it's in certain moments. If we wanted to go into human design, I'm a 6'2". That makes no sense. That means that I have to show up and be all shiny for everybody, and then I have to go away. I have to go away. By the way, it's been so much fun coming up, with the story of what happened while I was away, or the story before I know that I'm going to go away for a little while, and then come back. Like some people don't know that life can be cyclical like that. That visibility can be cyclical like that. Maybe we have a season where we're showing up and we're doing all of the things, and then we have a season where we're resting. Like all of that is by design. And I love how this is coming up in this conversation too. Sweet. So, Julie, is it in your nature to be seen, do you think? Or is it like a skill that you've developed?
You're asking me, right?
That's yeah.
Yeah, because you broke up, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna make sure it was directed at me. Um, so yeah, is it seen or is it a skill? Well, speaking from my experience, I don't know, like because I kind of grew up like very shy and very introverted, and I think somebody who's like very shy, especially, you have to kind of learn to develop that skill. And if you're also nervous, spicy, kind of on the spectrum, it's even more challenging to want to, or even to get that skill, because for some people it's a natural skill. They're born with it. Like people who can naturally go and be an actress, be on Broadway, be on TV, and it's just the not the visibility comes to them. The natural natural skills come to them, right? But I think in some cases, especially if you're an introvert and you've always been seen as invisible, you have to kind of go through a lot of trials and tribulations, and possibly go through life and hone those skills so that you can be better. So speaking from my experience, I had to develop those skills, but maybe other people here on the panel, maybe they've naturally had those skills. So I guess it just depends on the person.
Perhaps it does. Perhaps it does. And may I ask, Dahlia, if you're willing to speak to this? This is one of the amazing questions that Julie came up with. Are there any mindset shifts that are necessary to finally put yourself out there? Like some people feel like they have cement shoes, trying to walk around and hop on a stage. Are there any mindset shifts? And if so, can you name one or two of them that's necessary for people to finally do the thing?
Sure. I would, excuse me, I would say for me specifically, one of the biggest mindset shifts that I had to have was that, and it kind of goes back to the leadership conversation, that I embody it all. Whether I see it right now or not, whether I recognize it, whether I'm willing to, whether I'm able to own it, I am truly enough. And the only way for me to confirm that I am truly enough is by being willing to challenge myself and actually step out. Um, I would say that was hands down the largest mindset shift battle. It wasn't just a shift, pure battle that I had to have with myself. And and also I would just also refer back to just being okay with your story, that everybody has a story. And I would say that was the second thing, is that my story is my story. I can't change it. I can't, no amount of tweaking, trying to adjust it for others' comfort made me this uncomfortable, trying to make it seem nicer than it was. You know what I'm saying? While it was wonderful for the world, but tearing me down in order to do that. And I found that once I was able to smile in spite of my story, and again, be willing to challenge myself to even talk about my story, even if I wasn't confident, but still stick to it, was probably the second thing. So recognizing that I am enough and owning my story were the two things for me that I think allowed me to start to make that walk. And the more I did it, the more I realized, like, oh, this wasn't as bad as I thought it was, as bad as I had hyped it up that it was going to be. So those two things definitely.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And thank you for sharing about, your journey. Like we get to go through a journey too, even though we may be in the corporate space, stepping on stages or in the business of PR. Like we have a story as well. Does anyone else want to share about what that could look like in terms of mindset?
I got something to add to that, and it's something that I did it myself, but then I deal with it when clients are like, should I really say this in my marketing? Should I say that in that interview? I never say yes or no, because they're a grown ass person, they're an adult, they're going to make that call. But what I say to them is, the thing you've just said, is it your truth? And they'll be like, yeah. And a lot of the time we live in cancel culture. We live in a time where people will, I mean, look, people are going to judge no matter what, but people are worried about maybe rocking the boat. Maybe there could be backlash, and it doesn't necessarily have to be something controversial. We're living in a time where people are divided like crazy right now about any given topic you want to bring up. And I ask them, the thing you've just said, is it your truth? And they will say, yeah. And I'll be like, so if it's your truth, why are you trying to talk yourself out of talking your truth? And as soon as I say that, they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, so you've got a decision to make. I'm never going to tell you to say something that doesn't sit well. Because if it doesn't sit well, that energy is going to come across and people are going to see that disconnect and be like, she's trying too hard. But if it's your truth, if you know that by telling your truth, even if it's only one person, is going to get that support, is going to get that help, and more importantly, not feel alone, it's worth doing.
Thank you for that distinction. Oh my gosh, Mel, is it your truth? Then why aren't you speaking it? Like, it should be that simple, right? And all the layers that come in between. Lily, did you want to add to that before we answer a question from the audience?
Yeah, just real quick, in recognizing that it's the longer I'm in this line of work, the funnier it is to me how much my clients and I have in common, in the sense that we can talk about what we do all day long. As soon as you get into the why and who we are, that's when I've frozen up in the past, my clients have frozen up in the past. And this actually came up in a recent podcast interview that I did, this conversation about, like, as a business owner, what responsibility do you have as an entrepreneur to speak up, right? To speak up for the things that you believe in, to not be afraid of backlash or being canceled. And for me, it's, I take a very nuanced situation and saying, like, okay, you have the things that you believe in. It's important that you give a voice to them so people understand who you are and what you stand for. Because you don't want to be working with the wrong people. You want to attract the right people. And the people who are your people are the people that will resonate with your message. They will support you. They will become a part of your audience. And that's who you want. The people that react negatively to that, they don't matter. Because that's not who you're trying to build a positive relationship with. But ultimately, it also comes down to your priorities as well. Because to me, it's like, if you are an entrepreneur who's struggling to put food on the table, then that's your priority, right? Nobody has a right to dictate to you, like Mel was saying, how and when you should be sharing your truth. I always say to my clients, when it comes to owning your story and sharing parts of it, you decide what is personal, what is private, and where that line is. Only you get that choice. And the last thing you want is to give external influences that control over you and your story.
Beautifully stated. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Here's our question. It's more like a statement, and we can speak to this. And thank you for this, Deborah. Deborah says, I always ask, what are you afraid would happen if you put yourself out there? For each person, the reason and the core belief is different. And I'm curious, among us, whether it was ourselves, our little selves speaking aloud, or maybe it was a client who faced an issue, but what are some of those excuses? Sometimes when we give it some awareness, then we can see it when it comes up and we can spot it and like be like, oh yeah, that's just that's just a belief. That's just a limiting belief, or that's just an excuse, and we can keep working around that. So I'm just curious here, who knows some of those reasons that people put between themselves and finally putting themselves out there?
I can say something to that because, look, we're all human, okay? And women do worry about so many things, whether it's body image or will that person not like me anymore, or maybe I'll get ostracized and people won't want to know me, and maybe I've rocked the boat too much, all this kind of carry on. And I want to talk to what happens to when you get to the other side. Because when you're at the fearful side, it's like telling a little toddler to walk and they're wobbling, right? So that fear that that person has is valid. I take it on board. The byproducts of coming over the fear, which I love, is when they get over it, they shine. We will eventually have calls and they'll be like, Mel, I love my marketing now because I'm not trying to be something. I'm not second guessing, do I hit publish? Oh, I'll walk away, have a think about it. Like, if I want to hit publish, I hit publish, and c'est la vie to what's going to happen to that. I'm not going to try, as you said there, fit in the box, be pigeonholed into people think I'm this, so I better carry on as that, when actually I'd rather be this, yeah? And they say to me every single time, I feel free of other people's expectations, free, not necessarily of fear, because fear never goes away, but just free of what people think I should be. The feeling of freedom that you have when you reach that point in your marketing. And it's not being bullshit. It's not like, I don't give an F and I'm just going to go and do it anyway. It's, this is me. People like it, people don't like it, but you know what? I'm good. And when you reach that point in your marketing, whether it's a written post, a video, writing an article, going live, whatever the thing may be, you've reached a level of freedom.
Yeah, yeah. I can feel it just from what you're saying.
I know for me, which is interesting because, like, I know my personal reasons were essentially just believing that I would be, for some reason, beat down and ostracized if I put myself out there. But similar, but just a little bit different, is I like to talk to clients about getting in the game, because to put yourself out there, I feel like you have to get in the game. You have to realize or pay attention enough to yourself to know what are the triggers that are going to pop up once you actually start to put yourself out there. And once you start to embrace those triggers and not try to shove them or ignore them, is the moment that you're able to recognize that you're on the right path. So for instance, imposter syndrome is a big one. And it's like, if you know that every single time you try to go live, right, or you try to do a post, you start to have this voice that tells you, oh, what are people going to think, instead of ignoring that voice, or instead of just embracing that voice and telling yourself that voice must be right, get into the game and recognize that voice is going to come. So when that voice comes, you're right on track, because the voice it's going to show up. The voice is not going anywhere. Your imposter syndrome is not going anywhere. Your desire to not be seen is not going anywhere. None of those battles are actually going anywhere. They are all a part of the big game. And as long as you recognize that they are also players in the game, you'll quit running from them and run through them, because now you see them coming. Right? It's just like football. Like, when they line up, they are very aware there's a linebacker on the other side. There's a running back on the other side. They don't stand there and not hike the ball just because there's a running back over there. No, they have an entire game plan to get through those obstacles. So recognize that those obstacles are going to be there. Call them out for what they are. Okay, this is my imposter syndrome showing up. Oh, that's right. I knew you were going to show up right now because I was getting ready to post something. Just right, just here we go. So I must be doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Let me go ahead and post. You know what? That's right. Here comes the fear. I knew you were going to show up because I was getting ready to put on this dress that I thought I was going to be pretty in, and now I'm questioning myself. Okay, you're right on time. You're right on time. And I think that the moment that you start to embrace all the players in the game is the moment that you start to be able to get to the other side and say, okay, yeah, she said what she said, but it didn't stop me from moving forward. And now I'm able to see what's on the other side. That was long-winded. I'm sorry, but that was.
I think that's such a cool analogy. I love it. In a way, it's like you're saying to the fear, hey, come on, take a seat, have a drink, come on, get involved. Instead of going, oh my God, no. You're like, come on in, make yourself at home.
Right, not going anywhere. So right, let's have a glass of wine and let's just get through this thing together. And it's slowly but surely that voice will get a little bit softer and a little bit softer each and every time. But not if you run from it. It'll just continue to get louder because it knows it has the power.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I love the football analogy because it's just like the thing that I lean into is the fact that it's like 9 times out of 10, the stuff that you're afraid of happening, it's not set in stone. It's not fact. So if what you're afraid of, there's a possibility that can happen. There's an equal possibility good things can happen too. Right? And then I say this to my clients, I say this to myself as well. It's like, even if something does happen, like in the middle of an interview, you stumble over an answer, just roll with it. Just keep going, right? Because 9 times out of 10, if you don't call attention to this kind of stuff, people won't even notice. The only one that notices is you. So for me, it's really about focusing on, like, what is the positive outcome that I want out of this? Because it is just as likely to happen. So why not focus on the positive rather than catastrophizing the negative that may never come to pass?
I hear you, Lillian. I hear you. And I get that this was a hypothetical question, and the way that my fear answers that question is that it's like, well, sometimes we're motivated by pressure. Sometimes fear actually has me do the thing. So if I do catastrophize it, then I might actually be more likely to follow through. It'll be more painful, but I might actually do it. Which is like getting back into that mindset that we were talking about early. It's just what drives us, and then speaking to that, and either going along with it or creating a new groove, So that's what we get to do here. Yeah, Mel.
There's something to add to that as well, because I do say this a lot when my clients are getting really nervous. They know that they should do it, but there's just whatever that's going on, right? I say to them, let's flip this, because right now you're in your head, you're scared of whatever the thing is, right? Embrace it, like what you were saying there, Dahlia, like, come on in, have a drink. But then what I say to them is, you know that by stepping forward, you're going to help someone. And you know that deep down in your soul, once you get over it and you step forward, even if it's only one person, they're going to be helped. They're going to see a solution. They're not going to feel alone, whatever the thing may be, right? So what I say to them is, let's flip you from being in your head of going, oh my God, I'm so fearful because this and whatever other thing is. and instead go, I'm going to walk through the fear, because by walking through it, which I can do because I'm a grown-ass woman, I can do anything. I'm going to walk through this fear, because by walking through the fear, it's not about me. Even though I'm in my head right now, even though my mouth is dry, even though I've got this sweat and my palms are clammy, I'm going to get through it, because whoever listens to this interview, or whoever, whatever the thing is that you're doing, they're going to seek a solution, and they're going to be like, oh my God, I'm so glad this woman shared that story. Now it's not about you. It's about helping someone else, which you know it's going to.
Nice. The whole service reroute can absolutely help. Yeah, because there's other human beings on this earth too. Thank you. Mel, can you take us out? This has been such a riveting conversation and inspiring one. Where can people find you outside of here?
Yeah, I'll put all my details in the chat, but if you go and check out my website, my business is called You Are Your Marketing. So it's youareyourmarketing.com. The reason I called it that is you literally are your marketing. I can get you interviews, I can help you get these articles, and you go write that article. But at the end of the day, you're the one steering the ship. So that's why I've called it that. You can find me on Instagram and Threads. I'm obsessed with Threads, love it, on it all the time. And again, same handle, You Are Your Marketing. I'm on LinkedIn, which I'll put that link in the group chat. And I'll also leave, when I put the details in there, if someone's like, you know what, I'd like to just hop on a call and kind of talk through some things that I feel I need assistance with in my business, or maybe I want to step forward and I just need that to talk it through. I don't really know my next steps. I don't know how to approach this. I want to try new things in my marketing. Then you can hop on a call, and I'll leave that link there for you to do so.
Awesome. We all will. Thank you, Mel, for that reminder. We all will put our stuff in the chat. Lillian, if you want to share your 10-second version.
Absolutely. Right now, I'm actually offering a free 5-day challenge to lead any entrepreneur or author through my 4-step signature framework to land your next media interview in as little as 5 days. Julie's actually gone through it, and I know that she's had a fantastic experience with it. So I'm offering that for free for anyone who is watching this. You can find me on Instagram, Lillian Sue, PR Coach. That's Sue, S-U-E. And you can find me on Facebook with my Facebook group, Booked, Featured, Paid, where I go live to offer free training and coaching. I offer free resources for entrepreneurs and authors looking to get on the right stages and be featured on the right platforms. And we have conversations just about storytelling and what visibility means for your business and everything there. And you can also send me an email through my website, which is in retrospect writingservices.com.
You rock, Lillian. Thank you for being here. Dahlia, you got your 10-second version ready just to let people know where they can find you?
Absolutely. So I am the owner of Rebel Alchemy Life. I also own One Team HR, so I'm also an HR consultant. And so you can find me at rebelalchemylife.com. I'm Rebel Alchemy across all social platforms, or you can find me on LinkedIn under Dahlia Cummings. I have 2 programs. One is called Foundations of an Entrepreneur, which basically goes through all of those things that we talked about, from imposter syndrome to fear, so that they can get to the other side. And I do also have a program called Alchemized, which is made to help women learn how to lead from a grounded place.
Yeah, thank you. Julie, where can people find you, and any reflections on this amazing panel that we co-created today?
Yes, I had a really fun time. I hope everybody did as well. I knew that the people that I would choose, that they would come through, and that we will have like an amazing discussion. And I would love to do this again for sure. So anybody could find me on my Facebook group. I'm mostly there. She Needs Impact. networking and collaboration for female entrepreneurs. This is where I usually host weekly networking events, and I allow other women in the community to do so as well, so that they could get themselves more visible, get themselves comfortable, especially if you're an introvert. So if you want to come and host a networking event in my community, you're more than welcome to. Reach out to me in the DMs. I reply much faster that way, and yeah, there's exciting things coming up. So, but usually once you get to know me through the Facebook group, then you'll probably start to see more things happening. But yeah, thank you so much for this experience. It was great.
Absolutely. Thank you for being inspired and taking action. That's what the whole campaign is about. 100 women to watch. And we're like, what? Only like 11 deep so far? We got a lot of days to go, a lot of interviews to go, a lot of panels to go. Let's get it. Thank y'all for being here and for showing up with such fire and truth and clarity. Definitely got some of each of those. And now I'm going to go have some dessert. Enjoy your lunch hour. For those of you who are joining us live and for those of you who are watching replay, hopefully everyone will be able to put their information into the actual comments on the live stream, and you can access it and go play in their playground too. So until next time, stay empowered.